Hi guys, I'm Steph. Thanks so much for checking out my channel today and my collection series. I am so happy to finally be filming this series. So far I have done my primers and my setting spray, so I'll link that video down below in case you're interested. And about a year ago now I did a whole lipstick collection, so I'm going to link those videos down below because I'm not going to be redoing them in this series just because my lipstick collection really has not changed. So I'm kind of going in the order of how I apply products. So after primers, I do concealer / foundation, depending on what type of concealer and foundation combination I am using. So first I'm going to do my color correctors, then my concealers, and then my foundations. Before we get into it, I'm like at a little bit of a conundrum on how to film these videos, especially when it comes to cream products, because I want to show you everything I have, but not everything I have is open. And I worry that if I open some of these containers, then they're going to start going bad before I actually have a time to use them, because as we all know, liquids kind of go off faster than powder. So I don't really mind opening a blush, even if I know I'm not going to necessarily be using it regularly for like the next year. But when it comes to foundation, if I know I'm not going to be reaching for it, it's like really hard for me to open it. So I think for now, ones that aren't open, I'm just going to kind of show them to you so you know what I have. And the reason why some of these aren't open is because for foundation, there was a point where I was doing first impression foundation reviews, but those kind of died off. So if you want to see a first impression or review on any of these foundations, then please let me know. I'll link my first impression foundation playlist down below in case you're interested, and I'll let you know which ones are part of that playlist. So that being said, I am going to swatch for you the products that are open. Products that are not open, I don't think I'm going to open them. But again, like, let me know, would you utilize your collection, everything you have, and just kind of rotate? Or would you try to like finish up products before you open things that aren't even open yet? I'm really excited to hear what you guys have to say, so please comment down below. So starting with color correctors, I have 3. One of them isn't technically color corrector, but that is how I use it. And this is the First Aid Beauty Eye Duty Triple Remedy. But just to give you a bit of a swatch, here it is right here. So it's not a lot of coverage, and it has just a very sheer tint of like pinky peachiness to it. This is in the fair medium shade, if I forgot to say that. So there it is right there, just a little bit. It does a little bit to correct those dark areas, but not a whole lot. And if I'm using something like this, color correctors, I like to go in before I go in with foundation. The other peachy color corrector I have is from Makeup Academy. This is the Pro Base Prime and Conceal Correcting Cream in the shade CC Peach. That took me so long to find. And this one is definitely a lot more peachy. It says on the container that it's for deeper skin tones, but I find that I have really dark circles, and this does a much better job of actually color correcting them. So here's this one. This was the First Aid Beauty one. You can definitely tell this has a lot more peachiness to it. And then I have one green color corrector. This is from Essence. This is just the color correcting stick in the shade, well, it's for Say No to Redness, but it's a green color corrector for redness. So I kind of put this on areas that are looking a bit red, maybe some of my acne that is like a bit inflamed, and I think this does a really good job of canceling out that redness. I don't use it every single day. I don't feel like I have that much redness, but on days when it's really noticeable or I really want to kind of have bring my skin to a nice even tone, I will reach for this. Moving on to concealers, most of my concealers I do use on my under eyes, but there is one concealer I use on my face, and that is the It by Breakout Full Coverage Concealer, and this is for oily and acne prone skin, and it has salicylic acid in it. I'm in the shade Fair. I like this because I feel like I am not just putting a bunch of makeup on top of active acne, but that I'm actually doing something to treatment to kind of put a barrier between my acne and my foundation. So this is the shade right here. It is like a bit on the light side for my current complexion, but most of the time it works, and I am putting a foundation over it and I'm pretty much blending it out. So for something like this, I don't feel like I need to get the absolute perfect shade, the one that'll do, but also you don't want one that is too brightening, because then it's just going to draw attention to what you are trying to cover. For under eye concealers, I have 6 and only 2 of them are open. So the one I'm using on the regular right now is the Tarte Shape Tape, and this is in the shade Fair Beige, and this one is definitely a bit more pinky. It is very light, so I definitely use this for brightening the under eye area. I would never use this on my face. It's just way too light, and I don't think it's too light for my under eyes, especially when it is all blended out. that being said, like I know the Tarte Shape Tape was like so hyped, and I bought it when I was in the States because I think it's only available at Ulta, and I find that it is really heavy and I don't love it. And honestly, some days I will just go in with the First Aid Beauty, the color corrector, and I won't even wear a concealer. I find it's too heavy sometimes. Anyways, one that was considered potentially a dupe when it came out was the Urban Decay All Nighter, and this is in the shade Fair Warm. And this one is also like very heavy. It can be very drying. So I find with this one, I need to put like an oil on under my eyes first and this on. And then I think it goes on really nicely. To me, it doesn't feel as heavy, but it can get quite dry. And this is this one. It has definitely more of a neutral undertone. I know it says warm, but I feel like this one is so pink. This one, like I like the shade of it much better. So then moving on to all the ones I do not yet have open. This is the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define. And I have the shade C1. So you can kind of see the shade right there. I don't think this is the lightest shade, but it is close to it. And I swatched a bunch when I was in the UK, and this seemed like a good fit. Makeup Revolution isn't available in Canada, so when I was in the UK, I like really wanted to pick this up because it was so hyped. But for some reason, I just like have not dug into it yet. And I know people say it's like comparable to the Shape Tape, and I already have two like very heavy concealers, like full coverage concealers that are open, so I don't see the point in opening this one right now. Another one I don't have open, I don't even know why I still have it in this packaging though, is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind, and this is in the Brightener shade, so it has a bit more of a pinky tinge to it. I have used this concealer before, but I've used the Neutralizer shade, which I found personally was like way too yellow for me, and I have used the Fair shade, which I really enjoyed, but because it did have more of a pinkiness to it, because this has a pinkiness to it and it's a brightener, I feel like I might use this more as a color corrector. I'm not sure how great it is going to be for necessarily like concealing. The Fair one, I felt like I could use it on my face and my under eyes. It still brightened, but it didn't do like... I really liked the Fair one, so I picked up the brightener one. Haven't yet tried it yet. I'm interested to see how it will do, but I really do enjoy this product. Another concealer from Maybelline is the Maybelline Fit Me, and this is in the shade 15 Fair. I have used one of these before, but I had the shade 10 Light, and usually like numbers, like the lower the number, the lighter it is, but I don't know what happened with that range. Anyways, so 15 Fair is lighter than 10 Light, which was like way too dark. I could only really use it as a concealer in like the summer, and even then like I probably shouldn't have, but it was good because I kind of mixed it in with my foundations, which are all like very pale, and I do not really buy summer shades, and so that was really good to help me like kind of deepen my foundations a little bit last year, and that's how I ended up using up the other concealer. But I really liked the formula, and I was very excited to test it out in the proper shade. So I haven't yet opened this one, but I do know I like the formula, so I'm excited to see how this one wears. This is definitely more of a lighter coverage, and because of that, it doesn't feel as heavy on the under eyes. Not that I think it doesn't give good coverage, because I do think it's like light to medium, but the heaviness that the Tarte Shape Tape and the All Nighter have isn't there with this one, so I really do like the formula more so for this one, I think. And one I picked up quite a while ago, but haven't yet tried, is the Tarte Creaseless Concealer. And for this one, I have the shade 10N Fair. So this is a neutral undertone, and it's a very fair shade. I haven't cracked into it yet, but I really want to. And again, I feel like maybe it's not as heavy as the Tarte Shape Tape. I really don't hear people talk a lot about the Creaseless Concealer. So maybe I should open one of these concealers that isn't like as intense coverage, considering I don't love it. The intense coverage like all day, every day. Yeah, I'll probably be opening one soon now that I've come to think of it. And the last product that I kind of count as a concealer, I don't even really know how to use this. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Pro Pencil. This is an eyeshadow primer and color corrector, and I have the shade Base 1. Oh my gosh, this is like the first time I'm taking it off. So it's this shade right here. It is like very comparable in shade. You can't even see it. I don't want to draw it on too dark, but it's very close to my skin tone actually. And I first bought this because someone did my makeup and they used this like to clean up the under the brow bone, and like looked so good and defined, and like have I ever done that? No. And like, do I think that is a step that will normally be part of my routine? No. Why did I buy this? I don't know. But it doesn't seem like too big of a pencil, so I feel like once I actually start using it, if I find a way to incorporate it into my routine, I feel like probably use it. I have to keep my eye on this one. If you have this, how do you use it, or how would you suggest using it? Another thing to note for the Urban Decay All Nighter, it definitely does oxidize, so if you are planning on picking it up or looking into it, I would suggest going in stores, swatching it, kind of like walking around for 10 minutes just to see how it dries down. That is definitely something I did because I wanted to make sure I got the correct shade, because there's nothing worse than like putting on a concealer to brighten your under eye that then becomes too dark. That is, well, I mean, there are things that are worse, but like in terms of concealer, that's pretty much as bad as it gets. Moving on to foundation. I am currently project panning one, and that is the Rimmel Lasting Finish 25 Hour with Comfort Serum in the shade 100 Ivory. I also have the shade 10 Light Porcelain. This is a tad too dark, this is a tad too light, so I mix them together to get my shade. Rimmel actually does have another shade in between them, depending on the country you're in. In the country you're in, 100 Ivory could be the lightest. I think in Canada, 10 Light Porcelain is the lightest, and there is a shade in between, but I was like, I'm not buying another shade of this foundation. So I put 2 little dots of it. This is 100 Ivory and this is Porcelain. So to kind of swatch them out for you. And this one might not be too bad for me right now, but in the dead of winter it definitely is. So when I like kind of mix them together, this is definitely a better shade for me. Some days I love it, some days I hate it. It was really finicky depending on the powder you pair with. So definitely you want to find a powder that works nicely with it. And I definitely like to apply this with a sponge. The rest of the foundations I have open, I do tend to rotate through, though some are on higher rotation than others. One of my most used ones that is probably on its way out in terms of like finishing it up, not expiring, is the Maybelline Dream Cushion. I did do a first impression on this, so I'll link it down below. I love this, but I love cushion foundations, but like they do not last long and it is extremely frustrating, and because of that I'm not sure I would get another one. The shade I have is 10. Instead of trying to swatch them while talking about them at the end, I'm just going to insert like a arm swatch of all the ones that I do have open so you can kind of see the comparison between them, because it's going to be too much to fit on the back of my hand. So the next two compete actually for my favorite foundation, and the first is the drugstore option, and that is the Physicians Formula The Healthy Foundation. I have shade LC1. I really like this. This is actually what I am wearing today. I think this applies beautifully if you use a brush, if you use a sponge, if you use your fingers. Like this just goes on so nicely. It is a doe foot applicator, so if you're like about that, something to keep in mind, but I really enjoy the finish of it. I think it just gives like a nice finish to the skin. I think it looks very skin-like. My high-end favorite foundation is the Too Faced Peach Perfect. This is the Comfort Matte Foundation, and I have the shade Snow, which I don't think is my right shade. I bought this when it first launched, and since then they have expanded the shade range, so I do not think Snow is like my perfect shade, and if I were to finish this, I would consider repurchasing it, but probably get shade matched or something. But I really like this. Even though it is a matte finish, it definitely does look very skin-like as well. I do think it is comparable to the Physicians Formula Healthy Foundation, at least for me personally. I think they both look just very much skin-like. They kind of have like a demi-matte finish, so I definitely have oily skin, so I like something that is going to give me a bit of mattifying, but I don't want to look like overly and dry. Like I like it when skin looks like skin, so I think these two foundations provide me with kind of keeping my oils at bay, but also helping my skin look like skin still. And again, I do have first impression videos on those. All the ones that are open, besides the Rimmel ones, I have first impression videos on. So next is the EX1 Invisiwear Liquid Foundation, and this is in the shade 1, the lightest shade. Usually that's where I fall. And this one kind of has a yellow undertone, so it is a little bit different. Like the whole range is very like yellow based, and I don't know if you can tell, mine has like really separated, and I am not sure why. I don't know if it's because like I traveled with it, like flying, if that like impacted it. I really do like it, but it just like takes a lot of coaxing to work with. So I don't think I would buy it again if I knew I was going to travel with it right away, because I'm not sure if that's what messed it up or if it's just been sitting around for a little bit. I would only buy it if like I knew I was going to be like staying in the place where I bought it, and I don't think it's available in Canada, but I know that they do sell it at Boots now in the UK, so I like it. I think it's like worth checking out. When I first wore it, I really did enjoy it, and I do enjoy it, but it's just like the first two pumps are like very oily and liquidy now just because it has separated, but the foundation itself I did really enjoy. For some reason, I do not reach for this foundation a lot, but every time I do, I really like it, and that is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte, and I have the shade 101 Classic Ivory. I think this does such a good job of really helping it look matte but not too matte. It's claimed to be a demi matte on the back. I really like this foundation. I don't know why I like never reach for it. I just think it's just not top of mind, but every time I wear it, I really like it. This next one's like a little hit and miss, and this is the CoverGirl Vitalist Elixir, and this is the shade 605, which is their lightest shade, which is too dark, and then it oxidizes, but like also oxidizes like orangey. Like I don't know. It looks so beautiful on the skin. Again, it gives you like that skin-like appearance. A bit more on the dewy side it is. Well, in Canada it's called the CoverGirl Vitalist Elixir. I think it has a different name in the States, but like same concept, and I have used like I am definitely getting use out of it. But again, I feel like I have to wait until the summer, maybe mix in a different foundation. Maybe this and this could go nicely together. I should try that combination. But yeah, I really do like it. I have only worn this a handful of times because it is too dark for me, and that is the It CC. This is the shade Light. I probably should have gotten like Fair. I bought it when I was like in Florida, had a tan. I have a tan like for 2 weeks out of the year, so not really sure it was a great idea to pick up this shade, but I was just shade matching to my current shade and I didn't really think it through. I really did like it when I wore it. I have tried the illuminating version and that is just like way too much. If you have oily skin, like just go for the normal version. I haven't tried the mattifying version. I know a lot of people like the illuminating one. My mom really loves it. I just think it is like, it looked so bad on me just because like I do have oily skin, but the like original one I really enjoy. Next is the Fenty Pro Filter Soft Matte Longwear Foundation, and this is in the shade 120, I believe. Yes, 120, and this one was like sold out for a really long time. It took me a while to get my hands on it, and I really have not reached for it that much. I'm not sure I love this foundation. Sometimes I will mix in some liquid highlighter with it, like the Cover FX drops, and I think those can go really nicely together, and it really helps to give more of a luminosity and kind of like sheared out the tiniest bit, and that is how I enjoy wearing this one. I bought this one because it was so hyped, and I feel like I never reach for it. It's the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place Makeup. I've just heard like, if you want full coverage and you have oily skin, like this is the foundation for you. So I was like, oh, okay. Like, I've got oily skin, I've got acne I want covered, and I never reach for this, and part of it is because it doesn't have a pump. I don't understand why it doesn't have a pump. I know this is a thing everyone doesn't understand, but like, I also do not get it. So I never really reach for it because it's like such a hassle to like pour it out. It's like a whole big thing, and like who has time for that in the morning? Not me. And yeah, maybe I should just buy a pump for it or like transfer it to a different bottle. I don't know. So I don't even like remember the last time I wore this one. Another one I thought I was going to love but just missed the mark for me, and that is the Hourglass Vanish Stick Foundation. I have the shade Alabaster. I just feel like it does not last on my skin. It gives beautiful coverage and it's really nice, but it's really nice for like 3 hours tops, and then it's gone. It vanishes. I do not know where it goes. And because of that, I like to actually, if I'm wearing something that is not as much coverage, like the Maybelline Dream Cushion Foundation, I'll put this on first to the areas where I really need coverage, kind of like my cheeks, jawbone, where the acne is, and kind of put it on for more coverage, and then go on with something a bit of a lighter coverage for the rest of my face. And that combination together, I feel like helps the coverage last longer and kind of helps everything stay even. So that is now how I kind of use this. So honestly, it's like a concealer stick basically is how I use it. So these next 11 are unopened. So one of them I've tried before, but the rest of them I haven't. So if you want a first impression, then let me know, or just a review in general. This one I have tried before. This is the 17 Blemish BB Balm, and it is in the shade Light, which is very dark and kind of like pinky orangey. But I bought this when I was like first getting into makeup, and I loved it because it has like, I think it has salicylic acid, I'm not sure. It has some sort of like anti-acne in it, which I really liked because I was like, oh, I have acne, but I want to start wearing makeup. So like the combination of like something that's going to help my acne, but I can also get coverage from, was really exciting to me. So I picked up one, and then I picked up another one because I thought I was like running out. And before I actually ran out of the first one, I realized like it is not that great of a color nor that great of a product, but it was like the first thing I bought and I thought it looked good. We've all been there. So I have another one in backup that is not yet open. I think it does provide a lot of coverage, so it's good for mixing in with something else that doesn't provide as much coverage. So I think I would probably use it that way in the future as a mix-in versus just like slapping it on my face. But what I do like about this is like you can put it on with your fingers. Like if you're in a rush, I don't have time to reach for like a sponge or brush. I don't know, I'm in a rush and I get like frazzled. So like just going in with my fingers is like the quickest, easiest way to do things. So I like it for that aspect. I can't believe I have not tried this one yet. This is the YSL All Hours Foundation, and this is in the shade BR20, so Cool Ivory. And I was like so excited, it was so hyped. I really wanted to try it, and then I just like never reached for it because I was going to do a first impression video and it never happened. So yeah, haven't tried this one yet. Still excited to. Don't know what my problem is. This next one is a stick foundation, and you would think after the Hourglass one I would be done with stick foundations, but I was at Marshall's and I saw this on sale, and this is the Anastasia stick foundation in Warm Alabaster. And the reason why I got it is because a lot of my foundations are like very pink, because I was like, oh, my face is pinkish, I have cool undertones, I need to get like foundation that is going to match that. But while my face is cool, my like chest and neck, not as much. So it just ends up with my face being like really pink and not matching my body. So I thought getting like a warm shade would be good to kind of like neutralize the pink. So I got this one. I haven't used it yet. This is the shade of it, so a little bit more on the yellow side to kind of even out the pinkness. The next one is from CoverGirl, and this is the Clean Matte BB Cream for Oily Skin 510 Fair. I think like CoverGirl has changed the packaging since I bought this, but I like the idea of a BB cream if I want those lighter coverage days. I like that it was for oily skin, all about that. I am worried that it is too dark because CoverGirl really does not go that fair, and I've heard most of their foundations have oxidized. I've only ever tried the Vitalist Elixir one, and that one oxidizes, so I'm a little concerned about this one, but maybe I should like bust it out while we are in summer and I have a tan. But like I feel like they need to focus on the ones that are already open, that I can't open these. It's so silly. This one I got in the States, and I definitely think it is too dark. This is the Neutrogena Healthy Skin Enhancer with Sunscreen, which is probably expired by now, in the Fair to Light shade 20. And looking at this, like I feel like that is too dark, but I think it's not super high coverage, which is why it says like Fair to Light. I think there's only a few shades, so maybe it won't be so evidently like dark on me if it is such a sheer coverage. So yeah, I definitely want to test this one out before summer ends. Because I loved the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte so much, I wanted to try another one, like from L'Oreal. And I got the L'Oreal Infallible Total Cover Foundation in 301 Classic Ivory. And I haven't yet tried it yet. I just thought I felt like I needed more coverage. My acne was like really, really bad. It's not great, but I have also like figured out other ways to cover it, like with the concealer instead of having to like cover my whole face in a heavy layer of makeup. And also I've just like gotten over it. Like today I feel like you can still see stuff coming through, but it's not like my biggest concern, like, oh no, people know I have acne. Like, I don't wear makeup every day. People know I have acne. So I guess like the intense mask, at one point I really wanted that, but it's not something I'm like, I feel like I need it as a security blanket anymore. I can't believe I haven't tried this one yet. This is the Maybelline Matte and Poreless. From everything we're saying, I think you can figure why I wanted to purchase this one. This is in the shade 112 Natural Ivory. Again, it doesn't have a pump, which is why I think I'm like dissuaded from using it. But again, I was going to use it for a first impression foundation video, but then I kind of stopped doing them. But after I bought a bunch of foundation to do, so that was kind of silly of me. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get back into those. Next, I have two foundations from e.l.f. I was going to do a full face e.l.f. makeup video, so I like have pretty much all the products to do a full face, but then never film that video. So again, if you're interested, let me know. They're both in the shade Porcelain. This one is the Acne Fighting Foundation, so it has salicylic acid in it. I feel like we see a theme with what I like, or what I think I'm going to like. I don't know if I like them, haven't tried them. And then this one is the Oil-Free Flawless Finish Foundation. I have heard so many amazing things about this one. I am like so pumped to try it out, but I guess like I was waiting for an occasion or like a video to wear it, which is like silly because I have a YouTube channel, but like YouTube is not my life, and if any of you are subscribed, you know, like I struggle with being consistent on it. So it's like I buy things for videos is just like so silly because that is not my life. Like, who do I think I am? Speaking about buying things for videos, I bought both of the Ordinary foundations, and I was going to do like a side by side which one wears better, and like I don't know what happened to that. They're both in the shade 1.1 Fair Neutral. This one is the Serum Foundation, so it's supposed to be lightweight and I think low coverage. It's a serum foundation. And then this one is the Coverage Foundation, which is supposed to have high coverage foundation formula, so I'm not sure how thick that is. And yeah, honestly, like looking at all this stuff, I'm like, I just want to start playing around with it. Like, what am I waiting for? Let me know if you're interested in any of these foundations and what you want to see a video on or review on, first impression on. I am like so excited and happy to do it for you. If like one person requests it, it will happen. So just let me know if you want to see it. This is the Maybelline Dream Cushion in shade 10. Rimmel Lasting Finish in shade 100. Rimmel Lasting Finish in shade 10, Porcelain. L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte in shade 101. Too Faced Peach Perfect in Snow. It CC Plus in Light. CoverGirl Vitalist Elixir in 605. Fenty Pro Filter in 120. EX1 Invisiwear in 1. Estee Lauder Double Wear in 1C1 Cool Bone. Hourglass Vanish Stick in Alabaster. Anastasia Beverly Hills in Warm Alabaster. There are the swatches of all the foundations I currently have open. You can see they kind of dry down to a range of shades. There you have it. Those are my color correctors, concealers, and foundations. If you are enjoying the collection videos, then make sure you subscribe. The next one I have coming up is going to be my powders. So pressed powders, loose powders. That might seem like kind of dull subject for a whole collection video, but I feel like I have a lot to get through, so that is going to be the next collection video. I also have non-collection videos going up in between collection videos, so if you're not interested in powders, then still stick around and subscribe because the next video will not be a collection video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great day or night wherever you are. Bye!